Hey you guys, how's it going? It's Thang here. So as you can see, I'm currently playing the brand new redesign of the Wizards Firebird build, Firebird set. So as you know, I'm earned the PTR for patch 2.4, so whatever we discuss in this video can definitely be changed before its live server, but I don't think it will because it's looking good so far. The build itself, the set itself, it's looking good so far. They may tweak it a little bit, but probably not. But anyways, this build itself is really fun. It's really interesting because what you focus most about this build is how many mobs around you that are burning, because that will give you a certain buff where it pretty much maximizes, well, pretty much gives you that damage to mow down all the mobs around you. So the more enemies that are burning around you, the more damage you do. The less enemy around you that's burning, the less damage you do. So you really focus on pretty much a dense mob where it's like 10, 15, 20 mobs around you to mow them all down. So that is how that works. I keep on saying the word mow, I don't know why, to burn them all down, I mean. So have enjoyed this little video, and then we'll go into how this build works with the gears, Kanai Cube, Paragon levels, and the whole match. Okay, I'll see you in a bit. Alright, so welcome back guys. Hopefully you enjoyed that little snippet of a video, because I really do like this build, and I hopefully that my friends like it too, so that they can play Wizard and I can play Crusader. So that'd be awesome. So they don't play Crusader and I play Crusader, and then it's just all weird and out and all that stuff. But yeah, so I'm kind of tired of monks, so as you can see. Anyways, we're gonna go through the whole entire thing. As you can see, I already have the gears laid out for you, and then the Kanai Cube, you can't really see the bottom of it, but you pretty much get the picture of what it is. And also, you know, keep this in mind that this is pretty much a little template. So that means that a lot of these items can be interchanged back and forth. You know, whatever suits you best would be best for you, right? So it doesn't have to be this is the end all type of thing, okay? But so yeah, we're gonna go into the stats first, and then gears, and then everything else, okay? Okay, for stats within this build, you know, the most important things that you need to focus on is critical hit chance and then critical hit damage. You want those two to be as high as possible, as maximum as possible, because that is where pretty much your damage is going to be multiplied from, okay? So you don't really care about attack speed, you don't really care about cooldown reduction or anything like that. And your elemental damage is going to be fire, so fire elemental damage is also your priority on your bracers. And then, you know, everything else for, you know, plus life, plus resist all or armor, that's going to be your secondary stats, and that's pretty much it for the stats. Alright, so here are the items we need. The first set of items we need is 6-piece set of the Firebird's finery right here. So we're going to use mainly the helm, the gloves, the boots, the chest, the orb, sorry, I keep calling it the source, it's called the source, and then the boots. So this is going to be our primary pretty much setup right here, and then it gives us the 6 set piece bonus, and we're going to go through them. I've already gone through them in the showcase, but we're going to go through them anyways, okay? Alright, for the 2 set piece bonus, when you die, a meteor falls from the sky and revives you. This effect has a 60-second cooldown. So that means it's just a second life for you. So whenever you die, a meteor will revive you. It will also do damage depending depending on your current damage or the damage that you died, it could do in the billions or in the millions. So that is what it is. For the 4-piece set bonus, dealing fire damage causes the enemy to take the same amount of damage over 3 seconds, stacking up to 3000% weapon damage as fire per second. After reaching 3000 damage per second, the enemy will burn until they die. It's a little bit confusing, so what that means is you do as much damage as you can until you stack the amount of damage that you've done to 3000% weapon damage. So then you'll get this little debuff on the mob right here. I'm going to show it to you. As you can see, this is the debuff that they will get from the Firebird Fineries 4-set bonus. You can see there's red vertical lines on them. That's when you know that they're burning. Okay, so that is the debuff that they're going to get on the mobs, and this is the normal fire debuff itself. That doesn't mean that it's going to burn. That doesn't mean that it's going to get that burning where they'll just keep burning to die. Okay, so that's what that means. Alright, for the 6-set piece bonus, your damage is increased by 100% for each enemy that is burning. Elites that are burning increases your damage by 1000%. So what that means is every mob that are burning around you will give you an X amount of increase in damage, and you can find out that number right here. So this is the little icon that will show up in your buff bar. It will increase and decrease constantly because mobs are dying. The more mobs that are burning, which means that the higher those numbers get, which means that the faster the mobs pretty much dies, and so it will fluctuate really fast when you are in a very huge dense space of enemies. Okay, so that is where that buff is. And also, if an elite is burning, guess what, you get 1000% increase in damage as well. So that is really cool for the 6-set bonus. For our weapon, we're going to use the Death Wish right here. So while channeling Arcane, Disintegrate, or Ray of Frost, all damage is increased by an X amount. So min is 75 and max is 100. So we're going to use this for our weapon right here. So that's really good because we're always going to be channeling anyways. So that is really good for us with this build. For our necklace and rings, we're going to be using the Endless Walk set bonus. So whenever you are standing still, you get an increase in an X amount of damage, and whenever you move, you get a reduction in damage by an X amount, okay? So for our belt, we're going to be using the Herbgrass Binding. God, I swear Blizzard is just trying to get me with these naming things. I can't pronounce these things. Anyways, so we're going to be using these belts itself. So it reads, reduces the arcane power of your Arcane Torrent, Disintegrate, and Ray of Frost by an X amount. So 50 to 65 is the number right there. So I got 55. So it's going to reduce my arcane usage power right here by 55%. So that's pretty cool. That's what we need to maintain that arcane power constantly, okay? For our last ring, we're going to be using the Conventions of Elements right here just to increase our fire damage by an X amount when it cycles through the fire one. Now, if you don't want to use Conventions of Elements and you want to use something for survivability, then Unity would be your best case if you really want to do that. But just to let you know, if you don't have Conventions Element, that means you can pretty much do less damage for that certain amount of time, okay? Okay, so for our bracers, we're going to be using Ancient Parthian Defenders. Now, when we go into the Kanai Cube, you'll understand why. So with Ancient Parthian Defenders, each stun enemy within 25 yards reduces your damage taken by an X amount, so 9 to 12%. So each enemy, so that means that if one enemy is frozen, so let's just say I have 10%, okay? If an enemy is frozen, one enemy, that means 10% reduced. If 5 enemy is frozen, that means 50% is reduced, okay? So this is where that's what we're gonna have, and that is where our survivability pretty much comes in, and you'll find out with the Kanai Cube anyways. Okay, so for the shoulders, I did the shoulders last because, you know, I've laid out a few items there for you that you can interchange if you want to, and it's really up to you how you want to customize it really, because, you know, you can either increase the damage you do or decrease the damage that is taken to you. So it's really up to you however you want to do it, and you can actually interchange those items in the Kanai Cube as well. So that's up to you. So for shoulders, you can either use, you know, Mantle of Channeling, where whenever you channel your skills, the damage of it is increased by 25%, and you also get 25% reduction in damage taken. Now, if you don't want to use that, then you can use, the Aquila Caress right here, which means whenever you're above an X amount of resource, then your damage is reduced by 50%. Or you can use the Nemesis Bracers just to progress faster within the Greater Rift itself. Or you can use the Cinder Coat to increase your fire damage and reduce the fire skill that is also being done, the cost of it anyways. Or you can even use the Mage Fist as well to increase your fire damage. So if you're using one of these down here, then you'll have to use the Firebird's shoulders itself. So that is really up to you how you want to, customize it. And it's really cool that you can customize it like that. Alright, for the Kanai Cube, our first slot for the weapon, we're going to be using the Furnace, which increases damage against elites by 50%. For our armor part right here, like I said before, you can interchange with other items as well if you want them in your Kanai Cube or on yourself. It's really up to you to customize whatever is best for you. So right now I already have the Mantle of Channeling, so I'm going to be using probably the Aquila's Caress right there to reduce my damage taken, which I don't have it on here yet. Oh my god, I thought I did, but you get the point. So I can put that in there if I want to, or I can have this here and then put the Mantle of Channeling in here if I don't even have but well, you get the idea of it anyways. So you can interchange or interlock that if you want to. That's really up to you. Now the last one for our ring is always going to be required period for this build. It's called the Halo of Aralis right here. So your ice armor now reduces damage from melee attacks by 60% and automatic cast Frost Nova whenever you take 10% of your life in damage. So that means is every single time you take damage, which means a lot of time is going to be 10% anyways, it's going to cast Frost Nova, which freezes all the mobs around you. So that is another type of stun where it actually synergizes with the Parthen Ancient Defender right here. So every single time you take damage, guess what? Poof! Frost Nova. Everything freezes, which means damage is reduced to you whenever, things are doing damage to you. So that is going to be mandatory. You can't really interchange that, but you can always interchange that with the Conventions of Elements, but I'd rather have the Halo of Aralis right here because it will give us the maximum of the damage reduction. Okay, so for our legendary gems, we're going to be using the Takeout right here. So whenever we channel things, the more damage we do, and of course we get more increase in armor, so that goes up, so you know how that works. Next is going to be the Takeout, the Bane of the Stricken right here. This will really definitely help us with the Rift Guardian at the end. And then lastly is going to be the Bane of Trap. We will pretty much be in the 15 yards radius. It will give us that increase in damage right there. Okay, so normal, usually we just do the normal gems right here for ourselves, increase in int right there. If you can't handle the damage, then do the diamond gems for that, okay? For the helm, you're using the purple gems for life, and then normal for your green gems for your weapon. Alright, so let's go into our Paragon levels. We want to put everything into intelligence right there, and then maximize your speed to 25% right there. Offensiveness is critical hit chance, critical hit damage, attack speed, and then cooldown reduction. And then defense is going to be resist all, armor, life regen, and then life. Lastly is utility is area damage, cost, resource cost reduction right there. Life on, I don't want to say hyperlift. Hyperlift. Anyways, life on hit, and then gold fine as last. Alright, so let's go into our skills. So our primary skill is going to be Disintegrate right here with Convergence. Instead of having one beam, you have two beams so that it hits more mobs at the same time. And it's really cool because it feels like I'm shooting lasers out of my eyes, but it's not really, but it's on my hand. Yeah, you get it? Okay, yeah, okay. So next we have our ice armor with Crystallize here. Now because it's synergized with the Halo of Aralis, this means that it does a lot of damage reduction itself, and because of the Halo of Aralis, this will actually does Frost Nova itself and stun mobs. So this is really good for you if you want to survive. Then we have Diamond Skin with Crystal Shell, so that just means a more damage absorption, so damage reduction for you for more survivability. Next is slow time with time warp, so that means any mobs that are within the shell itself, the time warp shell, they're going to take more damage. But not only that, they're going to be slowed down as well. But if you don't want to use time warp, you can actually use exhaustion as well. So enemies caught by slow time deals 25% less damage, which means more survivability if you want to do that. So those two, it's up to you. So I prefer more damage. I don't know, I just like more damage. So next is going to be a teleport, which is our what the fuck, oh shit type of skills to get us out of places. Not only that, whenever we teleport, we're going to take less damage for 5 seconds as well. So lastly is going to be our magic weapon here with the deflection runes. It will give you an extra 10% of damage, but not only that, when you perform an attack, you gain a protective shield for 3 seconds that absorbs 4% of your life in damage. So that will help you reduce in damage, okay? Pretty much more survivability. Alright, so for our passive skills, we are going to be using Audacity right here. You deal 30% additional damage to enemies within 15 yards. So this really coincides with the Bane of Traps, so this is really good. Next is going to be Blur, so decreased damage taken by 17%. So survivability right there. Illusionist is actually really cool. So whenever you take 50% of your life in damage within 1 second, all your cooldowns for a slow time, teleport, that's the two that we're going to be using, will reset right away, so you can cast them constantly, especially when you're in a mob area. And also your movement is increased by 30% for 3 seconds. Okay, so for our last passive skill, we're going to be using Unstable Anomaly, which is pretty much a second life, and you pretty much know what that means. Whenever you die or lose all that health you have, you pretty much are revived. That's all that really does, and we already have one from Firebird Refinery, and those two do not share the same cooldown, so you can pretty much use both of them at once. Well, one after another way, so yeah. Okay, so lastly is going to be our follower. I'm using the Scoundrel. The reason I'm using the Scoundrel, I know you can't see this, but I'm using his anatomy skill on the bottom here, the level 20 skill, to increase my critical hit chance. So that's what he's mainly there for. The higher the critical hit chances, the better for us. Remember, that is our main stat. And also, you know, he can stun enemies, he can slow them, and he can do whatever he wants. But the main thing we want is the critical hit chance, okay? So that pretty much wraps it up for the build video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and it helps you out, definitely please press a thumbs up. That really does help me up a lot. And if you want to share this video, definitely do that also, because it does help me out quite a lot as well. And if you had the chance to play it on the PTR, let me know how it goes for you. If you like it or not, I hope that my friends do like it as well, because it's a really good build for them and pretty much a party build as well. Anyways, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Definitely love to hear from you guys, and don't forget to press subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.